Doom Eternal's ultimate challenge, Ultra Nightmare. Your foes become insanely aggressive, you become fragile as a flower, and worst of all, you die and you can kiss your save game goodbye. So how does the tier list work? We'll go through each level, analyze the most significant fights, and rank how each demon affects the survivability of the Doomslayer. Other than that, we'll keep the gameplay as clean as possible, that it means no cheating and no bug abusing. We're also not including the DLC and the master levels for this tier list, as they will overshadow the main campaign's demons in terms of usage and difficulty. Just like in Doom 2016's tier list, we're free to use any upgrades and runes, even if they make fights trivial. We will only cover a select number of optional fights, so enemies encountered in Slayer Gates and most secret encounters won't be weighed into the tier list. And of course, this is all based on our experience with Ultra Nightmare and our playstyle. Your experience or opinion will very likely differ. Without further ado, let's kick off things with level 1, Heck on Earth.
At the beginning, the zombies, soldiers and imps aren't worth mentioning. The first actual threatening enemy is the Rakshashron, which you can immediately chainsaw, or go for style points by decimating it with the auto shotgun. After acquiring the heavy cannon, there'll be another Rakshashron along with a bunch of infighting fodder. Focus on the Rakshashron immediately, then take down the fodder enemies until the next area is unlocked. In the subway section, you'll meet your third Rakshashron. Thankfully this one can be skipped, so just keep your move on. After equipping the precision bolt and frag grenade, you'll meet your first hostile Cacodemon, easiest staggered with a sticky bomb or frag grenade. After killing enough soldiers and imps for a while, an Rakshashron will spawn. When this fight ends, another skippable Rakshashron bursts through the door. Just run past this one too. After some nonsense with tentacles and non-threatening Cacodemons, you'll find yourself in arguably the hardest fight of the level. Keep an eye on those Cacodemons and pay attention to when the Rakshashron spawns in. If the fight gets too frantic, you can chainsaw it to death, but you may want to save your fuel for the Rakshashron in the next fight. The final fight can get a bit overwhelming with a big number of imps and soldiers. The Rakshashron across the gap can be very deadly, so if you have the fuel, immediately chainsaw it. Make sure to kill any surrounding imps to avoid getting scammed, as they like to jump in the way as you go for the chainsaw. Also be aware about the two imps that spawn at the exit portal during the fight. Don't let them surprise you.
Dying in the first level isn't too punishing, although you have to go through Novik's boring speech each time you restart, which may get on your nerves. Zombies have a hard time hitting you, and if they land a hit, it doesn't even deal that much damage. Tier F. Soldiers are very common, but not as agile as imps, which makes them easy targets. Their explosive plasma bolt, however, can really mess you up as it deals massive damage and can be spammed, and for that we'll place them in Tier C for now. Imps are also very common, and you're still quite squishy this early in the game. Fireballs deal a significant amount of damage, are spammable, and will predict your movement. Tier C. Arachnotrons are chainsaw bait in this level, and won't really get a chance to attack you outside the final two fights. They are very dangerous foes, with their plasma bomb attack being difficult to avoid due to the lack of dashing and air control rune. Tier B. Cacodemons are easily staggered. You just need to pay good attention when and where they spawn. They are easily glory killed, turning them into free health piñatas, but leave one unattended and will chomp you for outrageous damage. Tier C. And last but not least, the tentacles. Their placement is easily memorized and really aren't a threat. If you do get hit, you probably deserve it. Tier F. Level 2 is where the game will start throwing more stuff at you. The first arena has gargoyles, a mostly harmless Cacodemon, and a pathetic Hell Knight you can easily just run past.
While we do want to encourage players to just pick whatever upgrades they prefer, we strongly recommend getting air control. It will make your life much easier. Being able to dodge projectiles in midair and decide where you want to land is incredibly useful. The Circular Ruins arena has 2 Cacodemons and an Rakshashron. Cacos are easiest staggered, and the Rakshashron is again chainsaw bait. Revisiting this area will spawn another Cacodemon and 2 Hell Knights. Stay on the move and nothing will touch you. You can go for the optional secret encounter for pretty much a free weapon point. You've got to kill 2 Cacos, which can be killed with ease by taking some full damage to respawn right next to them. Your first battle in Heck will introduce the Revenant. The Cacodemon and Heck Knight will join the party too, along with some pretty annoying gargoyles. They're good at sniping you, so snipe them back harder. The arena with the lava falls can be somewhat tricky. The environment isn't really safe. Both the floor and some walls can deal heavy damage if you're not careful. This in combination with the Revenants and Arachnotrons can kill you rather easily, so it's time for that plasma rifle to shine. 2 Arachnotrons will also spawn after killing the Cacodemon. Save a chainsaw for one of them, and once again be aware of the gargoyles sniping you from afar. After this fight you can get another free weapon point at this very easy secret encounter. Both the purple goo arenas that follow after that are easy. Seek the solid ground immediately and everything becomes a non-threat. Even this Arachnotron doesn't do much. This arena is S tier if you happen to be a gaming journalist, so just a heads up. The faraway Arachnotron poses no threat and can be safely ignored. The final arena is pretty spacious and you get an onslaught power up too. Grab it after killing the initial Revenant and Arachnotron and you'll tear through everything. Don't get too cocky though, and for good luck remember to enter arse first through the portal. And that's the end of the level.
Zombies are free health and armor, so they can stay at Tier F. Imps are agile and good at chasing you, but being able to dash makes them not as dangerous anymore. Tier C. Precision bolt being a thing makes the slow soldiers very easy targets to deal with. These baddies won't bother you as much anymore. Downgrading to Tier D. The Electrotrons can be a real nuisance, so make sure to save your chainsaw for most of them. Precision Bolt gets rid of their weak point with ease, and you can now dodge their plasma bombs by dashing away. Tier B. Tentacles are hidden in the purple goo. Again, just memorize them, and even if you do get hit, they don't hit that hard. Tier F. Cacodemons are getting more common now. Letting them silently sneak towards you is the worst thing you can do, so stay focused on your surroundings. Their chump is seriously deadly, so don't miss your shots. Tier B. Gargoyles have a fairly deadly triple projectile attack, and their melee attack is absolutely vicious. Tier B. Hell Knights hit very hard, and you lack punchy weapons to slow them down. Tier B. Revenants. Look how they massacred my boy. Again. Precision Bolt, Heat Blast and Blood Punch removes their weapons, making them incredibly pathetic. Their punch has pretty decent reach and damage, but they'd rather scream angrily than to actually attack. Tier D. Lost Souls. You don't even get to see them as they get blown up by barrels. Very sad. Tier F. Cultist Base, the first true roadblock of Ultra Nightmare. Here's where things get real dangerous. But first, we gotta go to the epic Rip and Territorium for whatever reason. You have infinite chainsaw here, so go wild. And yes, dying here will actually end your Ultra Nightmare run.
The first fight of the Cultist Base involves two sad revenants. Flaming the group of zombies will earn you a Praetor suit point as well as tons of armor. Next up is the Pendulum Room, where you face off against 3 Makyr, all of which can be safely lured towards the pendulum to instantly kill them. Beware of the imps though, as they can snipe you. Now for an easy fight against an Rakshashon. Shooting off its weak point will give you enough Praetor suit points to afford quicker recharging for dashes, which we highly recommend. From now on, we won't be recommending any more upgrades specifically, as it's all down to personal preference. Find out what works for you, and most importantly, just don't die, Lamau. After this, you'll revisit a repopulated pendulum with some imps, a sniping revenant, and a Hell Knight. Lost Souls will try to stop you from running past the fight, but they are really easily taken out. After killing or running past the 4 shotgunners, grab the rocket launcher. Now time for a tricky fight. 4 Makyr, a Cacodemon, and a lot of gargoyles. You can snipe the cannons off 2 Makyr right to initiate the fight to make it a bit easier for yourself. Now keep firing rockets into groups of gargoyles to drop their numbers fast. Use as much of the open space as you can to keep your distance. Getting meleeed here by a Makyr, gargoyle, or especially the sneaky Cacodemon that joins halfway through the fight can kill you immediately. After a bit of platforming, you'll get to revisit this area where you'll encounter a new enemy type, the Snek. This can be one of the most dangerous fights of the level because of the fairly cramped arena and the big amount of snacks and shotgunners, but you can trivialise the fight by fleeing into the Pendulum Room. Your next big fight is at the Cathedral entrance. Here you'll find Makyr, Sneks, Hell Knights, Cacodemons, Revenants, and Arachnotons. There are also mecha zombies and soldiers to supply you with goodies. With lock-on rockets, most of the heavier demons become fairly easy, but it can get pretty hectic nonetheless. Very importantly, ensure you have at least 2 chainsaw pips in your inventory before the next fight. Time for the infamous Maykr pit, arguably the first real choke point of your Ultra Nightmare run. The pit consists of 4 waves. The first wave is a group of mecha zombies that act as free armor. After that, you'll face zombies and shotgunners, so use explosives like sticky bombs and rockets. Next up are a bunch of gargoyles followed by a Snek and a Arachnotron. Gargoyles are easily dealt with using the plasma rifle, and save your ice bomb for the Snek. Use the cue balls to kill the Snek and Arachnotron. The final wave will spawn in extremely dangerous Makyr, well this is why you've saved a chainsaw for one of them. Dealing with only one makes this fight pretty easy actually, but if you messed up your chainsaw pips, this fight can go very, very wrong. Anyway, now that's out of the way, who's ready for some battle mode? Moving on. Level is pretty easy at this point, so just focus on working towards the Super Shotgun Mastery. Nothing worth mentioning here. Now the final part of this level is pretty rough. You can snipe the Revenants from a distance, but stay the heck away from Shotgunners at all costs. Don't let the Arachnotrons corner you as they'll slap you up. Lock-on rockets will deal with most of the heavy demons here, but the Snek and Makyr can get really dangerous if left unattended. What really takes the edge of this fight is that there's plenty of health and armor laying around, along with a secret overdrive pickup. Because of this, it's fairly easy to recover your stack when it gets critically low here, but of course the Shotgunners can really screw you over.
Zombies, imps and soldiers are chainsaw food at this point. Imps pose no threat, so down to tier D they go. We won't mention these 3 anymore. Arachnotrons are still a bit scary with that fast firing turret, tier B. Tentacles only appear once and they're easily avoided, tier F. Cacodemons are good at sneaking up to you, but are fairly uncommon. Easily staggered too, so it's time to demote them to tier C. Gargoyles on the other hand are very common and dangerous, tier B. Hell Knights become trivial thanks to the ice bomb and lock-on rockets, down to tier C. Revenants are also getting more common, but still don't do much, tier D. Lost Souls also just don't do anything. Die in 2 or 3 shots and barely attack, tier F. Mecha zombies are pretty tanky and their flamethrower attack is something to be taken seriously for sure, but they're slow and easily killed, tier C. Makyr are extremely dangerous. They're tanky, their damage output is insane, both projectiles and melee, and they can predict your movement too. They're priority number 1 in most arenas. Get rid of those cannons ASAP, tier A. Shotgunners are also very dangerous when they sneak up on you. When they get close, your health will disappear faster than my interest in playing Doom 3. Tier B. Snacks are also incredibly dangerous with their high mobility and devastating attacks. Keep those ice bombs and triple rockets ready the moment you spot them, as they need to be prioritized. Tier A. Oh yeah, and the cue balls. Well, they help you out, so Tier F? This is the only time we'll mention them. Doom Hunter base starts off with quite a bang. You immediately face off a Mankybus and some imps. Take down the Mankybus with the lock-on rockets ASAP and plasma the rest.
The first big fight of the level happens in this arena. Pinkies are introduced here. You also have to dodge all the gargoyle mucus being spat towards you. There are also revenants here, but they're sad as usual. After all heavies are killed, an Arachnotron will spawn, followed by a Hell Knight, a Mankybus and a Snack. Lock-on rockets help out a lot and there is plenty of room to move around in. Utilise it well and you're good. The room with the pouring molten steel will introduce the carcass at a very safe distance away from you. Then 2 revenants drop on by only to embarrass themselves. Oh yeah, don't touch the molten steel or else it's game over. For the next big fight, you can snipe weak points of the heavies from a distance. Once there, stay away from the damaging floor and plasma the rest. These series of doors will put you into pretty cramped areas where you face some baddies like a Hell Knight, a Prowler and Snack. Utilise the ice bomb and triple rockets to turn this section into a non-fight. Grab the chocolate coin and run past the cacklings and fodder. Time for the first boss fight. Nothing difficult, just tedious as it takes a bit of time to wear down the shield with plasma. Once the sled is destroyed, more dangerous enemies will spawn in like shotgunners and prowlers. The sledless Doom Hunter is easily killed with a couple triple rockets though, so other enemies won't even get the chance to attack you. Phase 2 puts you in front of 2 Doom Hunters. Again, a bit tedious to wear down the shields, but once worn down they become a piece of cake with triple rockets. Make sure neither Doom Hunter has their sled before you start killing them. You'll want to kill them both in quick succession, as killing one triggers prowlers and carcasses to spawn in. With the fodder enemies running around aimlessly, it's really easy to recover from taking damage here.
Arachnotrons are still high priority enemies, but rooms are bigger now, making them more tolerable. Triple rockets also help a lot. Tier B. Cacodemons show up in outdoor areas and are easily staggered with grenades. Tier C. Gargoyles are still pretty common. They only really become a problem when you're running away from the heavies, trying to recover your health and armor. Tier B. Hell Knights are becoming a bit sad. Instantly killed with triple rockets, frozen with ice bombs, faltered with frag grenades, you name it. Tier C. Revenants. Why? You can join your pathetic Doom 2016 brother at the bottom of the barrel. Tier F. Mecha zombies don't do much. Free supplies, I suppose. Tier C. Mancubi still hit really hard and need to be taken care of quickly. Tier A. Shotgunners can really surprise you during the final fight while looking for supplies. Very high priority when they get in your proximity. Tier B. Snacks only appear twice and aren't too scary in both situations, as long as you anticipate them. Tier A. Carcasses are mostly annoying with their shields always appearing in front of your face the moment you pull your rocket launcher's trigger. Especially annoying during the Doom Hunter fight, as you will shoot rockets quite often. Tier C. Pinkies are uncommon and easily frozen and then insta-kill with a blood punch. Tier D. Prowlers are pretty annoying but easily dealt with using the meat hook. Tier C. And then the Doom Hunters. Pretty easy using triple rockets when their shields are depleted. Just stay away from the melee as it deals a megaton of damage. Tier B. In the first arena of Super Gore Nest you encounter imps, soldiers and some faraway Mancubi. The ballista and the precision bolt really shiny as it takes down weak points with ease.
Be cautious around ledges as there very well may be a leaping Hell Knight or Cacker in your blind spot. 2 snakes and a carcass also spawn, with the latter being a bit annoying, but ballista and triple rockets make it easy. At the end of the fight, a Pinky spawns in, doing nothing. The arena with the meaty crusher introduces the Dread Knight, a cybernetic Hell Knight with energy blades and a projectile attack. However, much like a regular Hell Knight, they are easily killed with triple rockets. Does precision bolt and ballista combo the Arachnotron and second Dread Knight? Ooh, this area can be scary. Buff totem here makes the shotgunners, gargoyles and prowlers relentless. Get cornered and it's over. Take cover immediately. After killing some of the demons, the teleporters will open up. Take the teleporter that takes you to the buff totem and you're good. If you forget to memorize which one it is, don't panic, just make sure you don't die. Next big open arena starts off with some Mancubi and Arachnotrons. Just focus on weak points while taking advantage of how much space you have to move around in. If things get desperate, there's a supercharged and onslaught power up. During the fight, you'll have gargoyles sniping you, cacodemons sneaking up on you, carcasses spamming shields at you, revenants being useless, and a dread knight that gets dissolved by a lock on rockets. In the underground section, a spectre will sneak up on you while you fight a Maykr. Next up is some action with some prowlers, 2 carcasses and another Maykr. Filler fights, nothing to worry about. You also obtain the best weapon in the game, the chain gun. You'll encounter some more dread knights and some carcasses here, no big deal. Okay, remember when we said we won't recommend any more specific upgrades? I'll have to make an exception for the best weapon mod in the game, the chain gun shield. It's a game changer. Fully upgrade it as soon as possible. The second buff totem arena, if you get rid of the totem ASAP by meat hooking, it turns the arena into a joke. Inside the building there's a Pinky, Dread Knight, some shotgunners and a Snack. Bully them all with a chain gun shield. Pull your shield up again and dash through the tentacles. Quickly destroy the Maykr before it gets a chance to become a problem. The final fight has a lot of Arachnotrons, but they have a hard time hitting you in this big open area.
Alright, so just a heads up, all the enemies in tier F right now will stay in tier F for the remainder of the video. They won't get mentioned anymore, they are irredeemable. Same with the fodder enemies found in tier D, they are not going anywhere either. Arachnotrons are still pretty dangerous and oppressive with their turret. However, pretty easy to kill now that you have big guns, and taking out the weak point is much easier with the ballista. Tier B. Calcodemons are sneaky and will try to melee your face off, but if you have good awareness they aren't a problem. Tier C. Gargoyles are annoying little pricks and the buff totem makes them even worse. Tier B. Hell Knights, Triple Rocket, Tier C. Mecha zombies are chainsaw food and on the verge of getting demoted. Tier C. Mancubi are high priority targets throughout the entire level. Ballista and precision bolt help a lot though. Tier A. Shotgunners are super dangerous. Don't back into one of them or you're toast. Tier B. Snakes are also scary and require full attention, but appear in big open areas where you can safely triple rocket and chain on them to death. Tier A. Carcasses are more annoying than dangerous. Tier B. Pinkies are easily faltered, frozen, staggered and killed. You can also bully them with a chain gun shield now. Tier D. Prowlers are only really dangerous when you're low on health and looking for supplies, otherwise they deal pitiful damage. Those buffed Prowlers though, pretty scary. Tier C. And then the Dread Knights, very predictable spawns and neutralize using lock-on rockets. Tier C. Only 2 Spectres appear in the level, out of which one is optional. It's like a Pinky without armor, and it's honestly sad. Zero threat. Tier F. The Arc complex starts off with some fairly easy fights. There's a Mancubus, a room with triple snacks, but you have triple rockets and chain gun shields. A room filled with shotgunners and a carcass, nothing too difficult.
The outdoor arena with purple goo has some heavy demons. Only the Mancubi are a bit scary, and also the Dread Knight if you somehow get stuck in the sludge. Keep your distance, mind your footing, and delete all the demons with ballista, precision bolt and triple rockets. Also, bully the Pinky for good luck. At the staircase there's an Arachnotron that has the high ground, so be careful. Also, here you'll encounter your very first Cyber Mancubus of the run, easily killed with any choice of Blood Punch combo, such as faulting with a frag grenade, or freezing with an ice bomb, or just Blood Punch them with the chain gun shield. This Hell Knight does nothing, so don't worry. Bully the spider on top of the rubble, and the Prowler here is fairly predictable. Between the aeroplane and burning hotel building, you'll encounter some Mancubi and some other heavies. Nothing difficult, just apply the same weapon combos as usual. Now comes the restaurant area. Oh boy, this arena is very dangerous. It's quite cramped and enemies can pop in and out of the lower area in the centre. There are a lot of enemies here, a lot of Mancubi, Arachnotrons and Snecks. Thankfully there's a Berserk power up that will help out tremendously. It is highly recommended to switch over to the runes that increase your glory kill range and speed. Just mash your attack button like a madman and watch the Slayer teleport to faraway enemies, tearing them apart without even looking at them. Keep in mind that the Berserk doesn't last long. Even if everything went well, you kill everything before the kitchen area opens up. The kitchen area reveals even more Mancubi, Prowlers and Pinkies. It's very easy to die here, so prioritise the enemies accordingly. The next fight worth mentioning is the one with the overdrive power up. Lots of imps, gargoyles and soldiers. Pinkies also spawn, bully them with the shield. Mecha zombies also appear now, they don't do much. The crew of snacks need to die ASAP. 2 Arachnotrons spawn, triple rocket and dead. At the end, a Cyber Mancubus spawns. We've already discussed how these are dealt with. Go through the sewers, memorise those tentacles and Hell Knight. Skip the purple goo and say hi to the croc. The parking lot fight doesn't really have any highlights. There's a lot of space to move around and you pretty much kill everything by using the same strategy as everywhere else. There's a supercharge in case you need to restack. On your way to the final fight, just use the meat hook to skip over the entire purple goo area. Now it's time for the game's first meme fight. Most of the time the Marauder behaves himself and is really easy to kill, but you can get unlucky with the fodder enemies hitting him with projectiles, causing him to pull off his shield and summon his best friend. Unfortunately, it's pretty difficult to rebuild your stack here with the fodder all spread out and in low quantities.
Arachnotrons. Nothing changed except that you can bully them now. Tier B. Calcodemons are still as predictable as ever. Tier C. Gargoyles, don't get meleeed by them. Tier B. Hell Knights are triple rocket bait. Tier C. Mecha zombies aren't a threat anymore, downgrading to Tier D. Mancubi, although easily neutralized with a ballista and precision bolt combo, are still hard hitters and you need to be very careful. Tier A. Shotgunners don't appear much here and never really a threat as long as you stay aggressive. Tier B. Snacks are still easily killed, but compared to other demons, still high priority and will absolutely wreck you if you become unaware of them. If one gets too close, bring the shield up immediately to keep your health up. Tier A. Carcasses are annoying. Tier B. Pinkies, bully material. Tier D. Prowlers are starting to get on your nerves and always find a way to sneakily bitch slap you in the face. Tier C. Dread Knights are super uncommon and super non-threatening. Tier C. The Cyber Mancubi are Ice Bomb and Blood Punch bait. Never a threat unless you fail to Berserk Punch the one in the restaurant. Tier C. Marauders can hit very hard if they misbehave. It can also be hard to recover as they are very fast and aggressive. Tier A. Mars Core starts off pretty easy. You encounter your very first Baron of Hell here, bully the heck out of it with the shield and you're good. The first outdoor fight is an Arachnotron, Calcodemon, Carcass and Cyber Mancubus. Nothing worth mentioning. Honestly, most fights blend in together at this point.
The next fight introduces the Pain Elemental. Equip the chain gun and hold down that fire button until they die. The Dread Knight is no threat whatsoever if you triple rocket it. Doom Hunter also takes a comeback here, but this time it can easily be taken care of. Freeze, destroy sled, triple rocket, dead. The only threatening enemies here are the shotgunners. After everything's dead, get ready to fight the Archvile. Pull out the Crucible for this fight as oh wait, it scams us again. After some nonsense with a bunch of gargoyles and a Jeebus, you acquire the BFG. Sadly not as broken as in 2016 where you had a near infinite supply of BFG ammo with the ammo drop mastery. Once outside, kill the Cacos with the BFG tendrils, don't go for a direct hit. Up next is an arena with a buff totem. Locating and destroying the totem is pretty easy, but the arena is still pretty tricky without it. There are Cacodemons, Dread Knights, Carcasses, Shotgunners, and Mecha Zombies. Maykr and snakes also spawn in at some point, but if you make eye contact with a Shotgunner, your health will disappear. Platforming time. Nothing really worth mentioning as most enemies can be skipped, but the double Baron fight can be tricky. You can use a single BFG shot to weaken them, then finish them off with whatever. Once inside you'll encounter Tentacles, a Hell Knight, Revenant and some fodder enemies. Pull up your shield and go wild. The last fight is also pretty easy. The first wave is cleared using a single BFG shot and the remaining heavies are dealt with using the standard Ballista, Precision Bolt, Triple Rockets and Super Shotgun combos. Freeze the Doom Hunter, punch, dead.
Arachnotrons are getting less dangerous, but their stream of projectiles can mess you up. Tier B. Cacodemons are still predictable as ever. Tier C. Gargoyles. Nuisance as always. Tier B. Hell Knights, Triple Rockets. Tier C. Revenants, Lemao. Tier F. Mecha Zombies are chainsaw foods, but their flame attack can be somewhat deadly. Tier D. Mancubi still hit hard. Tier A. Shotgunners are getting more common among the fodder enemies and can really catch you off guard. Even at this point in the game they can stretch you to bits. Going up a tier for sure. Tier A. Snakes are deadly glass cannons. Prioritize. Tier A. Carcasses can really mess you up during fights. Tier B. Pinkies are bully material. Tier D. Prowlers are annoying, but Meat Hook and Ballista deals with them quite easily. Tier C. Doom Hunters really don't do much. Ice Bomb Bait. Tier B. Dread Knights are still uncommon and not threatening. Tier C. The Siren Mancubus only appears once and attracts ice bombs like flies are attracted to trash bags. Tier C. Pain Elementals are helpless against a chain gun. Tier D. The double Baron fight can be tricky, and because they're also bullet spongy, we'll place them in Tier B. Up until now your Ultra Nightmare run didn't have any real roadblocks. Say hello to the Gladiator. Sentinel Prime is a boss level and a very tough one. Let's take a look.
The Gladiator consists of two phases. The first one is pretty easy. Just stun it when it does the traffic light attack, then chip away some health using the Destroyer Blade. Hell Knights and Prowlers will also spawn during the fight, but they can be dealt with using ice bombs. Often, the Gladiator's shield attack kills the demons for you. Phase 2 on the other hand is extremely dangerous. The Gladiator can now shield itself and also perform very hard hitting attacks with speed that gives you very little time to react. The jump rope attack in particular is a pain in the backside to dodge. You can bully him with a chain gun shield for massive damage. Just ensure you get out on time or you'll die.
Meat Hook around the arena to dodge its attacks and just stay focused. Use saving throw if needed. In short, the Gladiator is a very dangerous opponent and you're risking a couple of hours invested into your run. There are many ways of going about defeating this boss, just don't die Lemao. Tier SS. The other demons encountered in this arena are not worth mentioning. If anything, from now on, we won't mention demons at the level's conclusion anymore. Only if they're new or if they are significant enough to switch tiers. Tara's Nabad doesn't screw around and throws in a Marauder at the very start. Not too difficult, but those mecha zombies are annoying as they keep hitting the Marauder, causing him to keep pulling up his shield.
In this arena, you'll encounter your first Archvile. It will appear at one of its random spawn locations. Seek and destroy it ASAP before it spins big boys. Ice Bomb, then bully it. After some Half-Life 2 puzzles, you'll come across an arena with a Cyber Mancubus and a Doom Hunter. You get a free BFG shot here, so use it and watch everything die immediately. Piece of cake. Descending into the catacombs, you'll need to get ready for a somewhat dangerous fight. The arena is pretty cramped and can go wrong very easily. You'll encounter Hell Knights, Snakes, Carcasses and Prowlers. A Baron of Hell will also spawn, along with more Prowlers and even an Archvile. Triple Rocket the Heavies, bully the Baron with a shield, and BFG the Archvile. Outside, you'll fight another Marauder. There is plenty of space to move around, but the Marauder will also take advantage of that. There are also Prowlers, Cacodemons, Cyber Macubi, Snakes and a Dread Knight. Get rid of them before you can even attempt to take on the Marauder. Utilize the fodder enemy as well for health, armor and ammo.
All the enemies afterwards can be skipped. Use the BFG once in a while if you want. There's a crystal here where you can refill your BFG ammo. There's nothing worth mentioning in the sewers. All enemies appear in front of you, just blow them up. At the end there's what you could consider a bonus fight. You get a lot of crucible charges here to instant kill anything that crosses your path. Don't get too cocky though. Try to at least ice bomb the Archvile before slicing it up, as its flame attacks knock you back. Also, don't forget you can recover with glory kills and flame belch and stuff. Prowlers are getting very annoying now, and also a lot more common. They always find a way to screw you over when fighting other demons. Upper tier they go. Tier B. The Archvile appears 3 times, out of which the Catacombs is the deadliest one. Very cramped, and his Flame Wave attack can kill you quickly if you don't freeze the Arch on time. Also spawns extra enemies if left unattended, which is undesirable. Tier B. Back in Heck. The first fight can be skipped with ease. Save the crystal if you want to refill your BFG ammo after you've unlocked fast travel. The arena with the quad damage spawns a Tyrant and is an absolute non-fight. Everything dies in less than a second. The Baron and the Pit can be bullied to death too. The Brain mini-boss isn't very threatening. Wait, is it even considered an enemy for the tier list? It's more like a level prop, so no. In either case, you should shoot wisely to not get killed by the hot stuff and kill the pain elementals ASAP. Gargoyles are actually useful here for meat hooking.
Next up, we have a fight with quite a lot of heavies, but you can use the crusher to instantly kill them if you're skillful. You also get a free BFG shot if things get heated, so utilise if needed. The most annoying enemy here, without a doubt, is the Prowler. And be aware that an Archvile will spawn at the end, which of course is Crucible bait. The buff totem room poses little threat. You can immediately meat hook to the totem to get rid of it. The Marauder after that can be a real pain in the side. Accompanied by a Sneck, you're in for a real challenge. The final fight is really easy. You get a free BFG shot here, so use it to kill pretty much everything. The Doom Hunter double trouble isn't too bad either. Do the usual: Ice Bomb, Destroy Sled, Triple Rocket, repeat. Don't forget to fast travel for the ammo crystal to refill your BFG ammo if you haven't.
The Marauder fight is arguably the most troublesome opponent in this level. This fight can go very wrong with the limited space you have, especially with the damn snacks slithering around bothering you. For that reason, we're upping the Marauder to tier S. This level also introduced the Tyrant, which does absolutely nothing as it is fought with an Onslaught power up. Tier F. Nekravol Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Starts off with some fodder enemies, a Pain Elemental and Cacodemons. They're toast if you use the Arbalest shot. The first indoor fight is easy too, just beware of the shotgunners.
You'll face some Snecks, a Baron and a Pain Elemental in the next arena. The Doom Hunter also appears along with some Prowlers. Nothing too bad, except for those annoying Prowlers. You also get an Overdrive power up here to just demolish everything. The room with the Blue Souls has an Arachthron, Carcass, Dread Knight and Shotgunners. When killed, an Archvile and Revenants will spawn. Slice and dice that flame boy up. At the end, a Marauder will spawn, but the room is nice and open, so he'll be an easy target. Climbing the tower has tons of skippable enemies, so don't bother with them. Towards the top, you'll shoot some eyes and get harassed by a Dread Knight and some gargoyles.
The beginning of the final fight is pretty much BFG bait. A lot of heavy spawn here, but there are jump pads providing a lot of verticality. At this point you deal with all the enemies in a similar fashion. Hard to tell who is the most threatening here, and there are a lot of pickups here too. At the end a Doom Hunter appears and they, as usual, are pathetic. The Tyrant is a bullet sponge this time, so up to tier D. Nothing worth talking about, this is one of the easiest levels in the game, and at this point all fights just blend into one. Just stay away from shotgunners and use the Crucible on the Archviles. Platforming, tier SS. Nah, just get good. Jokes aside, after you Superman 64 your way to the first arena, get ready for quite some heavy hitters like Hell Knights, Siren Mancubi, Snacks, Dread Knights and regular Mancubi. You can pretty much triple rocket everything here and you're good, but the limited space makes it trickier than it should be. You encounter a new enemy, the Maykr drone. A nice loot pinata, but fairly annoying with the rapid firing projectiles and melee attack that slows you down.
The arena with the first buff totem can be tricky. You may catch some buffed projectiles while going for the totem, so be careful. Some Prowlers, an Arachthron, Dread Knight and Doom Hunter will bother you here. Prowlers are being fannies as usual. After exiting the arena, you can bully the Baron to death. In the central area, you encounter a Marauder. He's not too bad, but can misbehave because of the mecha zombies hitting him with projectiles. Cacodemons do nothing. From here you can choose 2 paths. Choose the right path and you'll face an Archvile, which of course gets ice bombed and sliced. The Mankvis and Pain Elemental spawn after that, but nothing to worry about. Maykr drones give a lot of supplies and the 2 Dread Knights do nothing. Up next is a fairly big arena with a lot of heavies. With the BFG, you can get rid of most of them, but then you have to deal with Barons and Snacks, which can be a bit troublesome. Keep your distance and use the teleporters wisely. You also need to deal with Shotgunners and Prowlers, but the arena is pretty open so they can't reach you.
Choosing the left path puts you into an arena with another buff totem, but this one is easily reached. A lot of big baddies here. Siren Mancubi, a Tyrant, Arachnotrons and Snacks. Just shoot the BFG Lamal and grab the supercharge. And let's have a quick moment of appreciation here for this Hell Knight violation. Before we head off to the boss fight, let's quickly assign a tier for the Maykr drone. It has a very annoying melee attack and ruins your shield's durability, but gives you nice supplies. Their projectiles can be hard to dodge too if you're too close, but deal low damage. Tier D. Barons have gotten scarier, upping to tier A. The boss of this level is the Khan Maykr and isn't really dangerous by herself. The arena is your worst enemy, where the floor turns into high damaging lava. Micro missiles and triple rockets decimate her quickly and Maykr drones give supplies. Use Chrono Strike to land headshots if needed. Khan Maykr has some very powerful projectile attacks, but are orchestrated and can be dodged if you're focused. As long as you stay airborne, you'll be safe from the attacks that deal major damage, fiery floor included. This late into the game, your nerves will affect your skill level, so this fight becomes incredibly chokeable. Use saving throw if needed. Tier S. Final Sin? More like Final Scam. The final level, and your nerves will be at an all-time high, and to make things worse, the first arena features a lot, but a lot of heavies. As long as you stay on the move, you can deal with them similarly. No real highlights other than a Baron, Tyrant and Doom Hunter.
The building you enter after that contains a Hell Knight, some Snakes, and Pinkies. The buff totem here is also easily neutralized. Prowlers here will land hits on you if you're not careful. Dread Knight also spawns, but is easily killed. Same with the Maykr and Raknashon. On top of the building, you'll face a Marauder. Nothing difficult really. You can even BFG him for fun. The building with all the infighting tyrants is BFG bait. Anticipate the buff totem spawning in and you're good. 2 tyrants are there to waste his time, so feel free to use the Crucible. Everything else is dealt with similarly, honestly. Going up the second floor will spawn a Maykr, Raknashon and Baron. All of them can be bullied. Going up even more reveals a massive infighting party. Crash it with a single BFG shot, wreck the Archfire with a Crucible, and deal with the Marauder in this wide open space. Here's a pushover.
And here it is, the Icon of Sin. Keep up a high DPS and keep good track which armor pieces have been destroyed. The icon itself doesn't attack often, but be wary of the heavies that spawn around you. Use those crucibles wisely. At this point your nerves will be working against you. Very easy to get cornered if you have tunnel vision on the icon. Shotgunners in particular really like to shred your stack here. When all armor pieces die, hide. It takes a while before the next phase begins. Phase 2 is the ultimate test. Just like in phase 1, keep an eye on the heavies around you, which are random with each playthrough, so you can get very unlucky if the game decides to spawn annoying demons only. Listen carefully to the icon's sound cues so you can anticipate his attacks and minimize damage. Very chokeable, as your nerves will be at an all-time high. Don't lose focus which body parts haven't been destroyed yet. You will waste precious time and effort targeting already destroyed limbs. The fact that this is the final boss, and you risk losing several hours of your life by choking, puts the Icon of Sin at a well-deserved tier of SS. Also, buffed tyrants can be a bit scary, so up a tier they go. So this is the definitive tier list. What do you guys think? Agree or disagree with some enemy placements? What was your most troublesome fight in Ultra Nightmare? Let us know. Massive thanks to Peter for helping out with the tiering, footage and script proofreading. Without him, this video couldn't have been made. So because of that, I will show his latest EP to show my appreciation. Check out the description for the Bandcamp link. And of course, thanks to you, the viewer, for sticking around until the very end of the video. Hope you found the video enjoyable and informative. Also, of course, thank you to the patrons and shoutouts to 19day, All Rise Rejected, Anarchy, Andrew Yukenchuk, Andri Diklin, Art Cox, Austin Wheat, Bix Make Me Koom, Ben Filkins, Brett Bozart, Brian C, Ryan Thompson, Kappa Bitch, Chief Kotrake, Chris O'Neill, Christophine Place, Cinnamon Killjoy, Cyprian Rusen, Flark Biter, Gooch, Mr. Toxic, Jeff Russell, Joseph Shantz, Joshua Scoggins, Justin Wang, Kaminari, Klaus, Corey Peterson, Mobilt, MacArthur, Matthew American, Mathieu Dubois, Matthias Zippert, Michael Neu, Morvis, My Little PogChamp, Notch Titus, Nolan Boyer, Penance, Pyro Shi, QuakeGamer632, Raven King, Rentfall, Richard Loster, Rodney, Roman Orehov, Scarebank, Jean Wang, Sebastian Radcliffe, Sensodyne93, Shazarat, Chimakazi, Space Duck, Steak Jacobs, Stephen Bone, Stephen Halustik, Supercool Nata, Syntax Error, Teko Kami, Thomas, Trevor Whelan, Turbine2K5, Tot Tamash, Vasyan, Victoric Moe, Vintage Pink, Vladimir J, Erkov, WTX, Xenia, and Liquid Fusion. Thank you for the tremendous support in 2020. You guys are the best. Oh, and by the way, my beautiful Turbo Nerds, in case you haven't seen a Patreon post yet, shoutout prices will raise from $10 to $15 starting next year. This is because of how lengthy the outros are getting. You're going to have to change your pledge manually if you want to keep receiving shoutouts. Thanks for understanding, and see you all next year.